Hey everybody, and welcome back to my Unprocessed Life. It's the afternoon edition, if you will. You can see headlights in the back because we've got some inclement weather going on, and so folks got their headlights on. Yeah, that happens to me like almost every time I get in the car and start to do any recording. Anyway, nothing really new in regards to what's going down. We had about the only meal that I've had since I talked to y'all was lunch, which I think I told you already was the cucumber noodles along with the tomato and cauliflower and that kind of stuff. And what happened while I was at work was I realized that I'm going to be out of town next week. I'll actually be in Nashville next week, and I forgot that the presidential primaries are next week. So what ended up happening is I needed to get an absentee ballot, and I only had a few days left to do that. So I needed to go run over to the city that I had to go to, which was like an hour away from work or longer, and pick up an absentee ballot. So that is what I'm actually in the process of doing right now as we speak, is heading that direction to go do that. So nothing really new. I did have a few minutes of a few thoughts of interesting things happen. Let's see if I can do this a little bit. I did have some interesting thoughts happen while I was working today. I started thinking about some of those raw cinnamon rolls. I don't remember if I talked about them on the video earlier today, but they were really good. And so I was thinking that there might be some recipe variations of things in my brain that I could make. And so I've got some ideas for some new raw recipes. And they probably, there's almost nothing's new under the sun. So, even the recipes that we come up with are somewhat, infusions of old recipes and thought processes that those folks had, and, things along those lines. So, not really a ton of just crazy new stuff. Some new twists on old recipes, healthy twists, and I'm kind of excited about it because after seeing what could be done with the bananas and the dates that kind of taste like cinnamon rolls, I now have a desire to see if I can't create some really great, some really phenomenal plant-based raw recipes that are dessert-like but are completely healthy for you. Anyway, I wanted to get some things, because when you're getting to a lifestyle that is like the unprocessed life I'm trying to do, like the raw food folks, what you're trying to do is you're trying to be as healthy as you can. You're trying to feed your body in a way that makes it work the way it's supposed to. You're trying to be healthy. So the challenge becomes, if you're trying to unprocess everything, keep it unprocessed, then it's if it's in its natural state, then it can be bland compared to what you're used to. And so it's a matter of trying to figure out how to do a couple things. First of all, what we've become accustomed to is manipulated in really crazy way by the food industry. And there are a lot of things in there that addict us to the processed foods. So part of it is retraining your taste buds to not be looking, to not crave such addictive things like salts and phosphates and things that are in the food that trigger unnatural dopamine and shots in the brain. You don't want your food to be a drug in the sense that it gets you high, like illicit drugs would. So one of the keys is to try to make your raw food as appetizing as possible. You want it to look good, you want it to taste good, and you want it to be healthy. And there are ways to do that on the raw food diet, raw food lifestyles that are really, really exciting. One of the biggest challenges that I have found is that it takes a long time. And actually, it doesn't take longer than preparing traditional meals in some respects. We've gotten so used to our meals just being ready within 30 seconds or a minute. And, you know, the drive-through mentality is just so prevalent that it makes it hard when you're like, okay, well, I want to create this meal, but it's going to take 6 hours. Well, there's 6 hours of dehydrating time or whatever. You know, that's really no different than when we would do a big Thanksgiving meal, right? And you do a turkey, and you'd spend all day for days prepping for it, and then, you know, you'd spend 4 or 5 hours that day. It's not that different as far as time goes. It's just that, you know, you have to plan it on a daily basis like you would on a holiday basis. And so it changes your perspective to some degree. And of course, there's always fast food. There are always, you know, bananas that are ready, that there are fruits that are ready to eat, there are vegetables ready to eat that you can just eat right away if you're hungry. But if you're wanting to do something a little bit more, for lack of a better term, gourmet, then it takes a little bit more preparation time. It takes a little bit more, you know, figuring out how it all fits together. And that's kind of where I'm in the process of doing at the moment. Because to some degree, coming from a SAD diet, a standard American diet, you get to a raw food diet, and especially if you go straight from a SAD diet to a raw food diet and you don't really have much transition time, you know, try to feel your way through the vegan and vegetarian world and then get to where you want it. If you find raw, which I wish I would have done that too. I mean, I wish I had found the raw food lifestyle much sooner than I did. And actually, I found the raw food lifestyle before we found the vegan lifestyle, but it just seemed like it was too radical and we didn't know enough. And really, you know, 20 years ago, 10 years ago, even 5 years ago, you know, if you didn't know what you were looking for and where to look for it, it would be tough to find it. Now, it's easy to find on YouTube. There are people, there's community, there are things to help you with that. Whereas that wasn't there. That support system just wasn't there. At least not that I knew about. So now, as we get into it, and I'm coming from a standard American diet, you see some of the dishes, and I mean, you think to yourself, man, there's only so many, you know, ways that I can eat avocado and cucumber and lettuce. There are only so many salads I can eat. There's only so many rolled things. You know, where are the things that I'm used to? Well, you're not going to have the things that you're used to. You can make some mock ones that will, you know, help you in the process, but you're eventually going to translate out of all of that. And that doesn't mean it can't be exciting. It doesn't mean you can't have good food this way. It doesn't mean you can't have really tasty food this way. I'll be honest with you, the raw vegan hummus or the raw zucchini hummus that we learned to make, I think is one of my favorite hummuses or dips ever. I've you know, never had a dip that I can think of right now that I liked better. Now, I've had some vegan chocolate cake. It's out of this world. I mean, phenomenal. And the best brownie, sorry Grandma, the best brownie I've ever had anywhere was at a raw food restaurant in Dallas, Texas called Raw. And they had a phenomenal chocolate brownie. I mean, it was $12 and it was the best brownie I ever had. And it was worth every penny of that $12 for one brownie. That's right. It was something else. Anyway, so I'm looking forward to some of these challenges, some of these recipes I'm going to discover, and my brain's been thinking a lot about that ever since I had the raw cinnamon rolls early this morning. They were just really good. They weren't the best they could have been. They weren't phenomenal, but they were really good and really yummy. So I'm looking forward to making some things like that once I get there. So anyway, all right. Well, I've wasted enough of your time. I'm getting ready to go to the courthouse and pick up my my ballot so I can vote. Anyway, thank you for spending some time with me. I love spending time with you. You know how to get a hold of me over on Instagram, my unprocessed.life. You can also find me at my email address, which is myunprocessedlife@gmail.com. And for now, that's it. We'll see about a webpage at some point in the future if their need arises. But for right now, that's the way to get a hold of me if you have any questions. And of course, you can check out all of my food, anything that I eat, over on Instagram. I always try to take a picture of it and put it out there so that you can put some pictures to the words. Because I always find that, you know, enjoying your food is at least a part of seeing it. So, or seeing your food's part of enjoying it. So, anyway, until next time, y'all have a great day. I love you, and I'll talk to you soon.